And now, the award-winning Simply Youth Ministry podcast with Doug Fields and friends.
Hey everybody, Doug Fields here, and Jana, also known as Jane, Josh, also known as Gerbil.
Oh, that's bad.
No, that's Gerbil Slayer.
Gerbil Slayer right there, yeah.
Oh, Gerbil Slayer and Gerbil Savior.
You have another
Savior?
character in World of
Level
Warcraft?
19 mage.
Oh no. One was not enough.
The Savior
Well,
comes
hey everybody,
and
this
helps all
is,
the gerbils you
this is
slayed.
podcast number, it's usually written up on the whiteboard, but there isn't anything written up on the
72.
72. I should know that, but this one says right here from
Speaking of
John
two.
Cole from Houghton Wesleyan Church. The podcast is always excellent, but episode 70 was a cut above that.
Oh wow.
What is a cut above always excellent?
Excellent plus.
Always excellent plus or
Exceeding
just
excellence.
I don't know,
Really,
much
really
better
excellent.
than more than dodgeball.
Yes.
Plus.
And,
I found myself taking notes and pausing the
What?
show to reflect. Great stuff.
Oh.
Thanks
somebody
also-
actually is taking notes.
Taking notes during the podcast. That is a podcast first.
Well, that we've been told.
wow.
I'm
Thanks,
sure lots
John.
of people take notes of what we
Yeah,
say.
mental
Thanks
notes.
also
Do not
for
listen
taking
to
the
this
time in
again.
episode 70 to address my question about the spiritual review. I don't
Wow.
remember episode 70, but
I don't either.
I don't
I don't
remember
remember
last
the
week's.
70s.
I'm very interested in seeing this document. I searched the sites that you mentioned because, Josh, you said you had the spiritual review up on a site. So
I did.
It's on Matt McGill's Spaces blog.
He says,
And it's on more
I
than
searched the
better
sites you mentioned, Matt McGill Spaces, More Than Dodgeball, much better than More Than Dodgeball, Simply Podcast, and I didn't find it. If someone would send me the doc or a link to it, I would probably lay down on my office and give thanks to God.
Oh, amen.
You got to search my SkyDrive and then you'll find it.
Okay, so do you want me to link to it today?
I did. I linked to it. Basil, can you confirm? I think I linked to
You know,
it on
I'm
Better
a
Than
little
More
out
Than
of touch with
Dodgeball.
things going on here. Are we still doing links? Chris, do we have links after the show? Okay, did we get anything on our
How
eBay
many people
deal?
click on that?
Yeah,
That's
we're
got to be the biggest
$320
waste of time.
$320 on our
Nice.
eBay
We
deal?
had a minimum bid of 100,
Okay.
and we're already at 320 with 3 days left on the auction.
Okay, because
Oh,
that
cool.
includes Simply Access, 10 personally signed books, anything you want, a Matt McGill sports instructional video, a More Than
yes.
Dodgeball t-shirts, and what is there other stuff on there?
Do we have the
Simply All
Zabas?
Access, you said that?
Yeah, I said Simply
Somewhere.
Access.
On-
Well, the idea here is if you typically listen or you're new and you don't listen to the end of the show, we are starting to Help a Hurting Youth Worker Fund.
That's right.
I'm matching the first $1,500, which would get us to $3,000. But I thought today, why don't we have people send, when you send in your questions to podcast at Simply Youth Ministry, why don't you send in what you think would be interesting to put on eBay?
I like it.
And that way,
Give
things
us
that
some
we might
ideas
have
and we'll-
resources
yeah.
to, we'll put that on eBay and keep building that fund. We have a little update from much better than more than dodgeball.com.
Yes.
Matt,
That's
you're
my
2 for
blog.
2, right?
Dude, 3 for 3. What
3
are you
for
talking
3.
about?
Oh gosh,
Thanks
you know
for
what?
keeping up on that.
I
You
gotta
know-
keep up on that.
Yeah, you got to read it. It's
I kinda
the
wish Josh would
conversation.
link to it.
I did the day it launched.
Yeah.
Want me to do it again?
I think you should.
Inside
I think
it
I
hurts
should
a little
too.
bit too.
Yeah.
All right.
Because
well.
don't you think we pretty much made Josh's blog?
Oh, I guarantee we.
We're
Fire
having
alarm, fire
technical
alarm.
difficulties.
Duck-
Satan entered the building.
I think that was the truth detector right there, and no, the blog was doing quite well.
Oh,
God.
But it came from him.
That
Yeah.
was you? Oh, that's awesome.
Gosh.
No,
Well, it
I
just
think
continues to show that as an award-winning show, we have room for
We
improvement.
have
room
small
for more
No,
excellency.
our producers do.
Yeah.
We're all good.
We're kind of peeking out right here. This is kind of...
Well, okay, so each week Matt
All right.
tackles a question
Yep.
that he
That
tackles.
I'll link to.
Yeah, and Matt, I promise this week I'm going to go back and read all of them. But I've got a question here,
not gonna
Matt,
What-
that we're going to give you, and
only
it
three.
is a really
Three long
be a
ones.
really interesting one. This is a transgender
Oh,
question.
boy.
What's
Okay, it says
interesting
a
about that?
church is ministering to a family that has 2 sons of age. The
Of
oldest,
age.
9th grade, has been quote unquote diagnosed transgender and is going to therapy for help in dealing with this and coming to accept who, quote, he really is. The younger son, 12, is gay. But the dilemma here is when he breaks into male, female small groups, where does he put the transgender kid?
And we would love to answer that here, but instead, we're going to let Matt answer it on the blog.
I just think that would be a great one to.
I don't think that's a good question, but I'll take it.
It's
I
a
mean,
great question. I'll give it to you later.
No, you won't. You'll lose it.
No, I'm just going to sit it right here under pile 4.
Yes.
When he breaks into small groups, maybe he's in a class all of his own.
Well,
Maybe you
know
start a
what?
transgender
Here's
class.
what I thought.
Yeah.
I'll give you my quick answer. I thought as a youth worker, meet with him yourself. And they break them into groups. Say, hey, why don't you and I hang together? And this guy probably needs good one-on-one time. But I think you can probably find some bigger issues in the question in and of itself. And really in the culture that we live in and in the transgender community. I'd like for you to address that.
Me
Okay.
too.
All right.
In a youth
How
ministry
often does the
context.
transgender stuff? Is transgender different?
Uh-oh.
This
You need
is
to just
bad sign.
Wikipedia it and then answer the question.
No.
Don't Google image
Say,
search.
is that
just-
Boomer? Baby boomer.
Transgender. Wow.
No,
Okay.
but is transgender different than a person struggling with homosexuality? That's my question.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Okay.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah. Oh, I'm totally serious.
Okay.
Can
Yes.
you tell? You can tell. I'm
Yeah,
serious.
I can tell you're serious.
Yes.
Yeah. Because of the
It is
physical
different.
things involved.
Yeah.
So there, he's going. This person is going to therapy and to a doctor to get.
Really quick. Those are cameras, and this is a show, and everyone's hearing everything.
I don't care.
They're
I'm
following this
stupid. I'm
conversation
stupid.
right
I don't
now.
mind.
No, it's all right.
Just
Research and answer.
yeah.
Okay. I don't mind if I'm stupid on something. I don't care.
No, I just
I'm stupid.
No, I think that's a fair question.
Thank you. I didn't need that validation.
It really wasn't validation. It was transition.
He's like,
was
and
transgender.
Here's the next. Oh wow.
This is from Corey Dean West, Friendswood
Oh,
Community
wow.
Church in Friendswood, Texas.
Whoa.
Great job on the live podcast at the National Youth
good.
Ministry Convention. But I noticed
Thank
that
you.
Doug left Matt out to dry while he was getting
What's odd
filleted
about that?
by an emailer. He clearly trusts that Matt's big shoulders can take the criticism. Either that or Doug was willing to sell out his friend for an Outback gift card.
Which we have yet to receive,
Yeah.
I might add.
Why don't you go back and search the
I think I
emails
will.
and
I
find
think I
out that
will.
guy? Because that's why I sold Matt out for part of your meal.
Absolutely.
All
I don't
that
remember
said,
what happened. Did
here's a
somebody
little
make
Matt
fun of me?
love right here. I love Matt's quick wit, humor, leadership, and insight. Each of you are great, but I hate to even imagine a podcast without Matt. So, Matt, even though
Me too.
some may be critical of you, there's some of us that love you.
Thank
you guys
you.
are great.
I feel the love through the internet.
There are
waves.
thousands of podcasts
Through the
without Matt.
keyboard.
But this one is special with Matt.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. We won't
Makes
call
it
this one
award
two guys you've
winning.
never heard of.
We
That hurts a little bit, much better than more than your podcast.com.
Okay, that's Brazel outburst number 1. Someone said
this
we
is
need-
from
that's number
Hector.
2.
Hector is a youth pastor here in Laguna Niguel.
Oh yeah, we've had
Oh,
emails from him
Good old
before.
heck.
He says, I just finished seeing the video of number 69. I feel disappointed to find out
Oh.
that you are promising and giving what you promise.
Oh, me
Huh?
too.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Wow.
I don't know. I thought maybe we had a language barrier there. Please, somebody talk to
Three.
Josh
It's
about
terrible.
this. I'm having childhood flashbacks due to this. Oh, here's why I say this. Can you scan? Where is the scan copy of the Cincinnati sketch?
Oh, I walked in here and the Cincinnati sketch is down here on the
Oh, it's
floor
on the
like
floor
it's
right
trash.
now.
Unintentionally
The
trash.
portrait.
Whatever.
Look at that.
I was thinking I might
was
need to like
commissioned.
scrapbook or something. But
Yeah, I thought we were going to
Just
scan
kidding.
that, so we don't scan that. And like, Josh, ever since you kind of left Simply Youth
Left the
Ministry
links,
to
yeah.
it's
Pursue
links
other
kinda-
options.
Yeah, things have kind of gone downhill.
Well, I'm
It's like they've
so
gone downhill
sorry.
since I've been producing it.
He says,
Just like that.
Producing. what?
P.S. Has anybody
The
commented
show?
before how Matt looks like Peter from the Family Guy cartoon show?
Oh.
Is Peter the dad?
Yes, Peter Griffin.
I've only seen that show once, and I love that baby's head. It's awesome. That's it. That's all I got.
End of bit. You do look a little bit like Peter.
All right, here's a question. Hi, Josh and friends. Doesn't
Oh,
yes.
this guy wrote last
doesn't
week.
addressing emails to Josh get them read more than if we address them to
Absolutely.
Doug?
Without a doubt.
Whatever.
I'm just
You guys
lucky-
will never know.
I'm just lucky to get them printed by
Exactly.
Josh.
But
He has
once
been
again,
very, very
card
fair.
stock.
Oh, this is frightening. We'll go to that.
Card.
But I have to ask him every week. I texted him twice yesterday.
Yes.
For that.
But even if he gave them to you, you'd still ask.
Uh-oh.
I didn't get that.
I have a lot of free time.
We do.
I don't know what
Everybody else in the room gets
Everybody else who works with me. All right.
Oh, transgender what? Brazel outburst number 4.
Yeah,
Somebody thinks we need to judge the show.
This is a 4
based
outburst.
on Brazel outbursts.
Because we were all here last
I
week.
know,
when
we
did
all-
everything
I
else.
said
We
insider
actually covered
jokes.
that already.
I'm trying to explain the insiders.
There you go.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah,
You're
you're supposed to make the
Simple
comment
pro.
first and then explain it. Right. That's right.
Hey, if you're new to the show,
Oh, if you're
Hey,
new
new
to
to
the
the show, transgender is a joke that was at the beginning of the show when we just first started.
Yeah. If you fast forward it into 10
Wait a
minutes.
minute, I'm supposed to be better at letting you get the content. I'm apologizing.
Yeah, what is... Yeah, okay, here we go.
Alyssa Smith from North Carolina.
Hi,
She
Alyssa.
says, I was writing to get some feedback and ideas from the wonderful podcast team. Our youth group has a handful of student ministry teams from tech, art, promoting events, student leadership. Is that your handful?
I'm just visualizing the question.
They're actually kind of starting to pile a little bit.
Right now, we are in need of adult volunteers to fill in some of the holes to lead these student teams. To basically be the go-to person and connect with students. And along with finding the right fit for each of these teams, we want to get students plugged into these teams so we can really be student-led youth ministry. How do you get students involved in things like this? The teams that are working well are the ones who have an adult team leader. There's a lot of overcommitted adults and students, and those are the people who seem the best to fit, but I don't ask them to do one more thing. Any thoughts and feedback? We have another one similar. I'll just, Kenneth Todd, I'm going to include yours in this as well, because he says, how do
Real
you
quick,
divide
are
up
they
your
asking
ministry
for
teams?
students or leaders or both? I thought I heard both.
it was a little confusing, but I think
I
she's
need
saying the
leaders
best,
to be matched up. And
the
I
best
need-
teams, student teams, ministry teams, are the ones that have an adult
How do you
leader.
get students involved in things like this? So she
Yeah.
was making commentary about
Okay.
it. But I think, one of the things that she actually says here, a discovery that we made a long time ago, and that was that our best student-led teams are the ones that had an adult leader with them.
Yeah.
And we felt like that had about a 75% success rate if there was an adult leader who would
Right.
oversee
Yes.
that. And the ones that were all student-led that really didn't have an adult leader had about a 20% success rate.
Or 75% failure rate.
Yeah, or
80%.
Dang it.
For you insiders. No, I'm kidding.
For you insiders, Matt doesn't know math.
Matt's never been good at math. for
But
any our
one of the
shows.
things that, like,
One letter
she
away
makes an
from math.
interesting comment here. She says, the people that always seem to be the best fit are the ones that I don't want to ask to do one more thing. I'm not thinking of a specific person right now, but we learned over the years that sometimes it wasn't our best volunteers that were great at ministry, leading the ministry team, but sometimes it was a spouse who wasn't involved at all. So, for example, I'm just thinking of Lee for a second.
Yep.
Jana's husband. If Jana was really involved in the ministry, Lee's, at home taking care of the kids or something like that, maybe not coming, but wants to be involved, wants to be a part of
Yes.
the youth ministry community. And we start an art team. Lee's a graphic designer, sartidesign.com, S-A-R-T-I, design.com,
DESIGN.
.com.
.com.
which does, logos
Right.
and graphics for youth ministry.
So there's a
Yes.
great resource right next to one that's tapping out.
But
all the
saying,
time.
Yeah.
so
Goodness.
saying that
So other than
Lee might be
selling out-
good
well,
at
it's
being
not
the
selling out. It's just giving a little props. Janet volunteers her time to do this show. We had to beg Andy for submarine sandwiches today.
Busy day.
And there's still no vitamin
Wait,
water, no
we got
Propel,
we got
no-
sandwiches, but no drinks. We brought these
Yes,
ourselves.
and I'm just thirsty.
and angry. Here, hang on.
I'm a little
Come here.
angry.
Come here just for a second. Open
What?
your mouth. Seriously, you have there.
I was
Wait,
worried
no, I
about
just
that
shot it.
myself.
Okay, well then let me fix this.
Wait.
No, wait, seriously, look at this.
My
What?
eyebrow.
You see that one eyebrow hair?
Yeah.
If you're going to go after the tooth, I'll go after your eyebrow.
No, that's fine. You can go after anything you want, but I was about to throw up seeing that thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to
Oh.
draw claws.
A little cilantro right there.
I did get my hair cut last week, and he normally trims my eyebrows, and he didn't. And I went looking for scissors this morning. I couldn't find any.
They look great.
Thank you.
Do you have any scissors?
But somebody like a Lee, your husband, would be
Right.
a great person to say, you don't need to go to the weekend service. You don't need to do a small
I've
group.
never even heard of trimming eyebrows before.
Oh, do you shave between? You probably should. I'm sorry.
You don't really have a unibrow. No.
But it wouldn't hurt to trim it up
But
a
when
little
you got
bit.
your haircut at the
No.
barber, tell them what they offered you.
Did you go to the
I
barber?
went to V's Barbershop.
The barber
I
shop.
walk in and the
Okay,
guy
for those that
says-
don't know, V's is like this brand new one in our community.
Legit.
and
It's like a
it's
barber
an
shop.
old school barber shop.
yeah.
Like
Little
pole
chain.
and everything.
It's a chain. They started in Arizona
Okay.
and franchise
Okay, get to
information.
the
Fascinating.
Yeah, but anyhow, I walked in there
Yeah.
and
Hair model.
the guy goes, "Hey, have a seat. Do you want a beer?" And I was like, "Oh, I work at Saddleback,
Wait, they,
number 5 Brazel."
but you wouldn't want hair in your beer anyhow. That would be goofy.
No, but
all
while
that.
you're waiting at the table or the side thing till you get up there,
They have flat
Anyway,
screens?
what we said,
yeah, flat screen.
what we've learned is you take an adult that's
costs
not
$50.
necessarily
$25.
involved in your youth ministry, but is married to somebody in
Right.
your youth ministry or connected, that they would lead. And you find people lead by skill. You know, there's people who have skill sets in your church who can lead that small group of kids that don't have to be committed to everything else.
Well, and their passions and their experience and their heart.
Well, and I would say the first one I would start with as far as launching ministry teams is student leadership. I would start there, and then I would use the student leaders as leaders of those other ministries as well. We've just recently gone after our student leaders and said, when you join student leadership, you were in a ministry, and some of you aren't anymore. Let's get you involved as the leader of a ministry, and it's working really well. So we're launching 4 new
So
ministries.
do
this
they,
year.
do they have to all lead, or can some of them just serve?
Well, some totally could serve, but if they're already exhibiting, enough to be in our servant leadership group, it makes sense that they could pick up, leading the greeting ministry or leading the
What's
lights and sound or whatever.
Yeah.
What's your strategy? Because coming up, you're doing the Congratulations, You're Gifted
Yeah.
series. How are you plugging everybody into ministry teams?
Well, it's interesting. We're going to plug in everybody in like our crowd level program with a ministry fair. So the student leaders will have little booths set up with their ministries.
And student
then
leaders own those booths.
Student leaders own the booths, own the ministry, own everything. And then at the end of a message that hopefully you'll give, then students will go right to those booths and sign up. But booths,
Not
booths,
to be
not because there's a booths.
Yeah.
But I do agree with the observation about adults, and that's one of the things that we're struggling through absolutely right now is student leaders are great and students are great, but how can we get a caring adult, a passionate, shaped adult in there as well?
Yeah, and I think you can start with an adult who leads by skill rather than a passion for teenagers. Because most of the time when we're looking for volunteers, we're actually looking for volunteers who love God and love teenagers, or like teenagers at least. I don't even think, you get somebody who's passionate about video, they don't care. Like Tina Murphy, remember? Tina Murphy was passionate about video.
Sure.
She didn't care if you were 80 or 8. She
just wanted to teach
She wanted
you.
to teach.
Yep.
Because she led by skill. She wasn't drawn in because she was a lover of teenagers. She was drawn in by skill. I was thinking
the other day.
I know.
That was great.
Great. That's good news. We've got in Help, I'm a Student Leader, which came out, I don't know, Andy, how long ago? About a year ago?
No,
2 years ago.
Yeah. That
I've
was
got
a book I didn't help you on very much.
the one book that you didn't help me on very much?
Well, according to you.
Well, according to you, you write all my books, so.
Me and Rick.
Oh, that's true. 2 shows ago, for those of you that might have just joined us.
No, but that was the one, right? That was at the.
When we
and
went
you were
down.
like, dude, you're so unfocused.
Okay,
You're
so
totally
here's what I do.
worthless.
I write a book, and then I say, Matt, will you read each chapter and push back, fight with me, the whole bit. And Matt has been gracious to do that for many of my books. So he'll go, this doesn't make sense, or why don't I'd say it like this. And Matt's been very helpful, and I've given Matt credit in all my books. And
The ones he's helped
A
on.
lot of credit
Yeah.
in one of them. The whole thing was dedicated to Matt. What was it? What Matters Most was to Matt? It was awesome.
I don't even know either.
It
But,
was a good-
I don't think it was-
Well, Matt
Which
and I
one
have
was
done
it?
life together for
It's
a long
recent.
time, and we went
Yeah.
down to.
And I
we-
definitely think I know what matters most. So that would be appropriate.
we went away for a night, and I said, this thing's due like on Monday. Will you give it a read through, and then as you read through each chapter, I'll go and make changes. And Matt was checking email the whole time. He was so disengaged, and finally
I was
said,
in the
"Okay."
land where Josh is going to be soon. I do remember a great chili size. We went to some restaurant down there. It was nice.
Yeah.
That was
Anyway,
memorable.
I get more emails from student leaders reading that than youth workers right now.
That's good.
Yeah, it's
Well,
interesting.
It's a book for student
Yeah.
leaders, though.
No, I know, Matt, but I've got a lot of books for
was
youth
confused.
workers.
Oh.
And
Bat.
so, normally, Andy, because they come into Simply Youth Ministry, supported Simply, and I get them forwarded to me. And it's amazing, how kids are all over the country are taking stuff that you write and putting it into play. And,
And didn't we have some students do some sharing on each of those chapters? Or was that
one,
different?
Alyssa
Alyssa.
Holiday.
Oh, Alyssa helped on every.
Yeah, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
made a little comment
Yeah.
about each one.
We have a student leader conference coming up in
Yes,
July,
we
too.
do.
So I'm excited about that. We just started talking about summer calendars and
A PDYM Student Leadership Conference.
And Jana,
it's going to be cool.
We've done 2 of them, and both of them have blown our expectations away. And
Third one's a charm.
well, we've just had a great time. And first year was kind of like, oh, we hope people come. Now it's like, I kind of feel, people that have been want to come back and want to make sure they get a spot. But if people are interested in that, where do they find information?
PDYMcommunity.com. And we've got some fun things coming. Francis Chan's coming one night to share.
So great.
Yeah.
Bethany Hamilton, the surfer girl who lost her arm.
surfing.
Sure.
Yeah, surfing
Yeah.
accident with a shark. She'll
She's
be
coming
there.
to share her testimony and
huge.
just
Can't
kind of
wait.
how she's been able to glorify God's name after that and surfing and stuff like that. So we've got some cool things coming up for conference. Yeah.
And coming up soon, just in this whole genre of student leaders and getting kids to serve, this month, isn't it, Andy, that Congratulations, You're Gifted comes out?
Yeah, I think it's at the end of this month. We'll have it in the warehouse.
Because we're doing
That's
a series
cool,
on it in
yeah.
our high school
We'll do
ministry.
a
Hopefully
3-week
this month already
series.
over.
It's the end of April, I think.
The end of April. No, I think
end
middle
of
of
April.
April. It's
Middle of
hopefully,
April?
yeah.
Yeah. I hope so, because our series is the middle of April.
I know.
I really need that book.
See, can we get back to something interesting?
All right. This one is
Focus.
to Jane and friends.
I'm all about content and
Yes.
not interrupting you.
Jane.
I figured it would be
Yeah,
nice
right.
for her, Jana, to hear that for once.
Aw, that's
That was
Love you
nice.
guys and listen all the time. I'll get to the point so Doug doesn't ramble about how long and pointless some of the questions are. That is still why they don't make the show. So here's the question. I hear that
You just made the cut.
reference the different youth ministry programs that run throughout the week. What are they? What nights? What's the service flow? And what's the focus for each one of them?
Wow.
I love hearing what other youth ministers are doing so I can rip them off. Okay, not really. I love new ideas, but I figured a comment like that would spur one of the future of the church's warm, loving remarks. Thanks for doing what you do. Because I actually wasn't going to read that, but I thought I'm going to read it and pause. I love to
see
rip
if
them
you can
off,
get
see if
one.
Matt says anything.
Last week you politely asked me to not interrupt you during the questions.
No,
You did.
He was-
No. I said
he
you
was thinking
interrupted
about
me a
chili
lot. I
fries.
wasn't talking about like never doing it again. It was they're always funny. Your rips are always funny. It's just sometimes hard when you guys
'Cause you're saying
continue to
people
talk
couldn't hear.
over them.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear the questions.
Okay.
So
Sometimes.
Chili
yeah.
fries.
No, I want you to still make your comments. I just,
No, chili size.
Chili sides. Oh. I figured it was Matt chili
Totally.
fries.
All right, let me start and you guys dive in. Years ago,
This is what he was trying to avoid.
Years ago, sometime I got picked up in an airport by a seminary student. A lot of times guys will say, "I had to read your book," for college or
Yeah.
seminary or something like that. And the guy,
Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm interrupting you. Didn't some intern,
Now I'm interrupting you because normally what?
yeah,
didn't some
what's new?
intern say to you like, "Oh, I kind of read some of your book and only outlined a few words"?
Oh, I mean, over the years, you can't imagine
Like
how many
recently,
comments.
was it somebody?
That's funny.
Oh, it was one of those ones that someone said, "Oh, I shouldn't have said this to Doug, but this is what I said." And I looked at the guy and just said, "Yeah, you are a moron." But anyhow,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, this guy picked me
Yeah,
up and he
none
said,
of our current interns.
Yeah,
yeah, and actually now I remember who it was.
he said, I read your book and it just
Justice.
kind of seems like I can do this. It wasn't that big a deal. And I said, well, absolutely, it's not that big a deal. And I tell people all the time, if you were to look at our ministry, you'd be underwhelmed by it because it's fairly simple. We have an entry level program that we do on the weekends that we tell our regular kids we create a safe environment for them to bring their non-church friends to it. And then we have small groups, and small groups are a little more adult-oriented, adult on the life of kids. And then other than that, there's our two main programs. And the first one, the entry level, is kind of programmed more. The small groups are not programmed, but they're adult-focused on kids. And then on their own, we want them to develop spiritual habits on their own, so we provide them with resources to do that. We want them to do ministry on their own, so we give them service opportunities and ministry opportunities, both locally and globally, and that's pretty much it.
That really is it.
I know when he was like, explain your programs, I'm like, oh, that'll take 2 seconds.
Yeah. We put our eggs in just a couple baskets. Really.
But we also encourage them to do evangelism on their own.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, bring friends to the weekend service and
Not just
Well,
bring,
friendship
but also
evangelism on
have
there.
spiritual conversations.
Sure.
Challenge kids
Sure.
to get in spiritual conversations and not feel like you have to have all the answers, but engage. Nobody's afraid to talk about Jesus. People are afraid to talk about Christians.
Where have we published like kind of the actual schedule of the night, like what a small group looks like? I know some of that would be in small groups from start to finish.
It's in PDY.
It's in PDYM, I think, too.
Yeah. Both the weekend.
The small group video, is that still available?
Yeah, it's on VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, VHS.
Tina Murphy shot those.
It's on VHS.
That's the person that Matt met with in
VHS.
Corona and had lunch.
That's right.
The three of us care about.
VHS.
So anyway,
The
that's.
cows.
Don't you think that's kind of it right there?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's go to an audio question, Chris. How about call number 2? This is from Chris Burke.
Hey guys, this is Chris Burke from Madoc, Ontario, working with Youth for Christ in Canada. I'm just calling because I have got a comment for you guys. Ever since you have made your change over to doing your live broadcast, your sound has been phenomenal. I've called in or sent emails before about Matt's shrieks just piercing my ears and scaring everyone in my office, but that's just not happening anymore. And great. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I think your podcast is great, and I listen to it every week. Can't wait to hear the next one. Talk to you later. Bye.
There's a little
Oh,
irony
that's
because
nice.
the audio is really bad from
Yeah.
that call.
Yeah. Well, they won't be able to hear that it was low, right, Chris? When you mix the show
You'll
afterwards.
fix it.
Yeah, but in here, the audio is we're all like going quiet to it.
Thanks for the
Listen to
audio.
that.
Good
And
I
actually,
think I just ruined my throat right
We're
now.
kind of going
Yeah.
quiet.
That was
well,
a
and
good
my
idea.
ears as well.
Yep.
And actually,
voice, little room.
that wasn't the question I was thinking of. Let's go to call 1, which is a question.
Yes, this is Mark Eads from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm at a wonderful church called New Covenant Bible Church. I'm the middle school guy here, a.k.a. Dort, Matt's favorite healer on World of Warcraft, and probably Pastor Mark E.E. on live right now. Hey guys, I was reading Doug and Duffy's newest book and came across Doug's great article on resource gathering, and I had a question about probably mostly for Josh and Jana and Matt, since Doug doesn't know how to do digital storage and those kind of things. What would you recommend to the listeners on what kind of good things are out there that we could listen to, or not listen to, but use on our computers to store up useful resources that we could turn to later? I use OneNote from Office and wanted to see whether or not you guys have other recommendations that might be useful. Thanks, guys. I'm out of here. Take care. God bless. Bye.
So yeah,
Why were you laughing?
I just thought it was just a funny email. It was like, have you ever seen that
Email?
skit on Saturday, or
No.
funny voicemail? Have you seen that Saturday Night Live skit where the guy starts a sentence and then starts another sentence and starts a sentence and he never finishes a sentence? It just
That's
kind of
what it
felt
felt
like that.
But Mark, we love you and thank you for calling in.
And thanks for all your personal information except for your
Yes.
social security
Gerbil
number.
Slayer 19 level 19 healer.
Well, because he doesn't want my feedback as he's reading my book. He wants your guys'. Because I wrote in there something about, I'm sure there are easier ways to do this electronically, but
Yeah.
every time I've tried, it takes too much time, so I still stick with paper.
But
so.
I still didn't understand. Did he say storage? Because then he started to say listen to.
Yeah, it wasn't the clearest call we've ever got. But if
The audio is very good.
If you'd
though.
like to make up for, give us a clear call, you could call it 949-243-0571. That's 949-243-0571. So here's Mark's question. Let me summarize.
Okay.
Is how do you, in gathering material, how do you save it on your computer? How do you access all the material that you gather, from articles to websites to everything that goes out that has all these links to illustrations?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I use my Moleskine a ton right now for we're going to do a 1 month to live series. So I wrote out a bunch of ideas, and as I get an
that's not
idea,
electronic.
no, I know it's not electronic, but
No.
it's a good place for me to collect. It's like a standard page that says 1 month to live on it, and there's ideas on it. We have a sex series coming up we've known about for a couple months. There's ideas on that page as well, that when I see something, read something, whatever, I write it down at
So
the moment.
you are in my world then, Josh.
I unfortunately have flipped back, but it's really working well.
Okay.
I really like the Moleskine.
I use Microsoft OneNote, but I don't really teach, at least not these days. So I don't use anything to organize.
Why not folders by subjects though? Why? I mean, why? You know, if you're
So
saving
what
documents
you read an
or
article. Let's say, for example, yesterday I got this the Rick Warren News and Bits,
News and Views?
whatever it's called, where there
Yeah.
was an article that I clicked on and I went, oh, I don't have time to read it right now, but that's one I'd like to read. So I printed it out. Okay. Now what do you do on that if you don't, if you
Right.
want to go electric? How would you do that?
Well, I think
Well-
there is a cool piece of software called Basecamp, and you could use that
Yeah,
and
there
type
is.
in, Easter. You could type in 1 month to live, type in whatever, and then you have access to that. Anyone on your team could have access to that, and you just dump in
so
stuff.
you dump in by
cut
subject.
and paste by subject. So lay out all the series for the year, let's say,
Okay.
and then you drop in. Matt could add to the sex, folder, and you could add to the 1 month to live folder, and you'd have a pile of statistics, illustrations, stories, ideas, whatever.
Well, I use Basecamp with publishers. Use Specialties
Yeah.
uses Basecamp, and I was just using it recently with the architect. We're doing a little add-on in our house, and all of a sudden I'm going, wait, that's the stuff I use at Use Specialties, because I thought it was just a Use Specialties publishing deal.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
And the architect had the same thing, so
Yeah.
he'll put like PDFs up there and
you can upload
comments.
images and
There's a
series
free
graphics
one, and this is actually there's a free one Microsoft does. They do workspace.office.live.com or something. It's workspace live or something.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this last time? I can't remember.
No.
Go for it.
But it's actually pretty good for Microsoft product. Usually Microsoft's like first version of something totally sucks until they get to like version 5 and they buy out another company. But
But this
and make it
first
better.
one is
But this
good.
first one's actually pretty good, and it's totally free, and you can upload files. And
Cool.
I think we're going to use it to manage copy, so that at all the campuses, if they write about baptism over here, it can be up there, and everyone else can check it out.
Well, then
Oh,
you
la, la,
can
la, la, he's touching his phone.
Just let me see that.
Is she the volunteer from Corona that you're having lunch with? She
Nope.
calling in and said I was watching live? No? Okay.
No, it's not.
So I think Basecamp is a potential solution.
Yeah.
43folders.com makes that software.
Oh, they do.
Makes that software?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
Part of
have
their
in my
backpack
email deal. I have a
So are you guys using it?
We haven't yet.
Oh.
I've been dying to. It's good team collaborative stuff. I don't know if it totally fits here, but I think it could.
Simply uses it, don't
We
you?
use it for everything.
Yeah, I use it a
Simply
ton
uses it.
here.
For Basecamp?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've never used it simply, but I'm usually not included on stuff. But in my email, one of my inboxes is I have a humor and illustration deal, and so if somebody sends a funny video clip or something like that, I'll drag it into that, or scan an article that I know that I want to get sometime. I'll scan that and put it in a folder on my in my email deal, or on in my Word Explorer. What's it called? Microsoft Explorer.
Internet
Folders.
Explorer?
Internet Explorer, and I put it in folders. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you've got that folder
you
full
have-
of funny pictures, and you've got that's
Well,
a good-
and you have a illustration file, like one document that's 65 pages long.
yeah, oh yeah. So when I write, I'll take an illustration, because a lot of times, like I write out my messages word for word, and when I get to the cutting section, if I want to cut something that I didn't use, instead of deleting it, I'll cut it and throw it in this document called stuff I
Didn't
didn't
use.
use.
Right.
And that
It's
is
still
now
good,
like 65 pages.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, when I'm looking for an illustration, I'll go through that. But
65 pages you didn't use.
because it's, but because the other day when I was speaking in high school, I remember
Right.
an illustration that I gave when speaking to adults, and I just went into my sermon folder and did a search and found it and kind of cut and paste that and threw that into my high school message. All right.
Do you think if a wiki could be set up to manage content?
It could
like
be.
copy content, like short paragraphs?
Now, is
Yeah.
a wiki World of Warcraft deal?
No, it's like Wikipedia,
Oh.
but it could be a private one for
Do you think that would be good?
regionals
Because
or
I've
whatever.
kind of been thinking, what would be a good way to manage small little clips of information? You could type in baptism, and I don't know. I'm just-
Andy has a comment.
Chris is saying backpack. From
Backpack.
37 signals.
Oh, the 37 signals? I think I said 43 folders. Sorry.
Yeah. Backpack is better for what you guys are saying than basic.
Okay, can we
Great.
link to that, Chris? Okay.
Backpack and Basecamp.
I've been toying with getting those set up. I need to just do it.
Well, a lot of time. You have a digital way to backpack.
I wish.
Backpack from base camp. All right.
That's a lot of talking for not having any answers.
Yeah, we didn't do.
And
You got it. The bottom
Tony's saying
line-
high rise, by the way.
Tony's
Tony
the man.
Stewart.
Tony.
Yeah, he's geek.
He would
central.
know. Yeah, link
Yeah.
to him.
Thank you, Tony.
What did he say?
High
It's
rise.
It's a
rise.
product called high rise. Chris will link to it in the
Put the
show.
URL up on the.
You
in the
gotta
chat.
do what you will do, though. That's the thing. Like you gotta
That's
look
important.
around
You
and
can't do
look
what
at what's
someone
else
would do.
what's comfortable for you,
Right.
because every system is a little bit different, and unless you follow it, it's not gonna work. You
Well,
know?
and that's the thing. Even with Basecamp internally, it's simply Andy has said, "This is it. We're using it," and so everybody does. But in this scenario, our volunteer is going to be able to log into the system, and can student leaders, and is it just for you or for the pastors? And
Well, I like the idea of a collaborative. If everybody knows you say you got a couple volunteers and a couple students who are helping you with your message preparation. And you're saying, hey, in
Right.
the summer we're going to do this series on whatever friendship.
Right.
Anything you find on friendship, put it in Basecamp.
right, and they could even grab verse lists and drop
Yep.
the verses in.
Yeah,
They could put in
that's a great
stories, testimonies would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do that.
All right. Why don't you make that happen, Joey? Why don't you model it in the high school
Seriously,
ministry and then
I
let's
will by the next
show
show.
people how to do it?
Ask me about it next week.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, none of us
putting it
remember
off.
to do that. This
I
is
will.
Mark Eads. Mark says, "Can you share some good ways to help kids and their parents to
You know
transition?"
this call just came from?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that.
He
No,
got-
I
He got a
didn't.
call
He got
and
on
an
here
email in the
twice.
same
Okay, well,
show.
then let's hold that. Let's hold that question.
Yeah.
for
Sorry, Mark.
Next week
We
/ never.
can't give you two. right in
Good
a row.
question, but
Hey, but send your questions in to podcast@simpleyouthministry.com.
Yeah, Easter slowed us down this week, so get back on the email podcast. That's in
I got
ministry.
plenty of questions to go through, but
Yeah, but we need fresh ones.
yeah, I like fresh ones. And also, you're emailing what we could put on eBay for
Yes,
helping
give
Nerdy
us some
News Worker
ideas.
Fund. All right,
This banner.
this is from Scott Schuler, and
Telephone said that's
he has a question. He says he's like in his third year of college, and the church is about to break ground on a new building. They're in a small storefront. They're maxed out. But the church that I'm now in will not be able to compensate me with a full-time position when I graduate. So his question is, when and how should I approach my senior pastor? Should I sit down with him soon and let him know what is going on, or should I wait a while, maybe 6 months or a year down the road? My pastor is under the impression and belief that I will stay on for another 3 or 4 years as a part-time staff member until the church is able to bring me on full-time. I do not want to mislead him or the congregation. I do not want to put the church in a position that they would be moving from a storefront to a large campus with a youth and children's ministry in flux. I want the church to be in good working order because of the stresses associated with moving and growing.
Well, I think one thing you probably should do is just not say anything and harbor a deep sense of bitterness, and in a few years you'll explode.
That sounds like most of the people we talk to.
There you go.
Exactly.
Don't you think that the criteria for finding out what will it take to go from part-time to full-time and get that up front is the best way? Like if you sign on for a year, you're committed to that year, part-time, whatever, but when will they make the leap? Is there a number that they're looking for? Is it a budget thing they're looking for? So that you know, are we making progress towards that goal? And the reason I have a little bit of an answer for this is I was talking to one of our interns who's fighting over, do I go part-time or should I find a full-time church? But he really likes the part-time opportunity, but he has questions about when will that become full-time.
Yeah.
You got to ask those questions. I think day one.
Well, and it also seems like Scott, a little bit here, has already created in his mind that the church will not be able to hire him for 4 or 5 years. So maybe he's heard that message
Could
from
be.
the senior pastor. And if that's the case, I think you do need to come clean. I wouldn't wait 6 months or a year down the road, because the reality is there's never a good time to leave your ministry. So get it out on the table. Hey, when I graduate college, I because of my family, and I didn't read, it's a long email, I didn't read all the deal, but he does have a
It
family.
wasn't short and pithy.
No, my family will and always will take priority. My friend, there are some long ones that aren't pithy.
I'm sorry. Short and pithy.
He says, he's got family, and family will take
Yeah.
priority over it. But I think you let him know as soon as possible.
Right.
Because the reality is, hey, you have a time until you're graduating. If the church sees value in you, then they can step up. because here's the big picture principle for a lot of people, and then you guys chime in on this. The church is never going to be as concerned about your salary as you are.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be. So you've got to fight for your salary, and that's a drag to do, and it's tough to do. But I've never had a boss in 25 years working in the church who cared more about my salary than me.
I think you're right.
I would agree.
I wish I had more to add, but that's the reality of it is.
Well,
But
I
here-
maybe have a boss that cares
do you
about
think
my
it's
salary
wrong?
more than me.
Yeah, that's
When I
true.
Well,
work for you.
I would not agree. Right.
Yeah.
But you have a
But you,
No, I don't.
no. I'm just saying you have a different outtake on salaries, though.
Yes, I do.
Because you're
Then-
independently wealthy.
No, that's not what I was going to say. That's actually not what I was going to
That's
say.
not true. That's not.
He did not marry money. I was kidding.
Yeah, but that you've been different a little bit because I tend to be fairly. I mean, Andy could chime in. Almost all of you guys. I'm not sure about Jana. Could chime in. But I've always been. I want to make sure our people are taken care of.
No, absolutely.
In terms of finances and things like that. Not all bosses are like that.
I would say, don't you think that
Especially
people
not
question
the
in a
boss.
church setting if they can say that? Like if you're a youth worker, especially new to the church, there's some intimidating figures, the board, the elders, potentially a senior pastor. And you're looking at them as strong personalities going, I don't even know if I can or if it's right for me to negotiate my salary.
Well, and it's definitely a different world than being like in corporate America and being like you're selling yourself and
Right.
promoting yourself. Than trying to go, okay, I want to be humble, I want to be a servant, I want to serve, I want to do what's right.
It's not about
But-
the money.
But
Yeah.
we kind of do that, and then we get run over and abused by the church as opposed to being paid even commiserate for what we should be getting.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of people that write in.
Somebody has a comment.
We have a lot of people
Hi,
that
Rob.
write
Rachel
in.
wants to say something.
Tony.
54% of the people just surveyed in the chat are not pleased with their salary.
Yeah, but most people aren't happy with
Well,
the shoes they're wearing either.
Right.
'Cause-
I got a raise, and I'm still not happy with my salary.
yeah.
61%. It just changed to 61%.
Shouldn't you always be a little unhappy?
Okay,
I mean,
why don't you ask how many people are? Yeah.
yeah.
No.
It's hot. Yeah.
Now I forgot what I was going to say.
You were going to
It
draw
was
something?
No,
very pithy.
I was going to say something. Then all you guys are like, Andy's got it. I just forgot what I was going to say.
It was probably youth ministry wisdom. No salary,
know.
senior pastor.
Well,
intimidation?
a lot of people that write in with salary questions
That's true.
because they agree to something, which is the difficult part. Is they agree to something and then they get, they realize, boy, the janitor's making more than me, or so and so's making more than me, and all of a sudden, when you compare what other people are making, you don't feel as good about what you're doing because you see how hard you're working, and that's always a difficult thing. But money is a big issue.
It's a hard balance.
Josh and I kind of just walked through this with somebody recently. Do you remember this
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
But kind of our advice to
That was
him
his,
was
yeah, that means no.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the rest
Kind
of
of
it. I
our
will.
advice
Yeah,
to
I will.
him was figure out what you need, figure
Right.
out what you need to live on, because he was moving positions. Now is it coming back to
Yeah,
you?
totally. I'm right there with you now.
See, I don't
He
like
was-
that either, though. I don't like looking at a potential employee. We'll just go ahead and use that word.
But moving to areas, he was transitioning
Oh, yeah,
churches,
yeah.
moving areas.
Right.
And he's like, I have no idea what, your area, this area holds for you. So
Right.
holds for me.
Cost of living is much higher. Here's what my salary was there. I'm actually going down to live in this new community. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do you understand what you're doing when you make that commitment?
Right. I understand that. I think it's hard. I don't like looking at somebody and saying, hey, so what do you need to make?
No. That I don't think is fair
that
from that
different?
point of view, but from the point of view of like he had to know what was it going to be acceptable to him.
Yes.
So he was educated before engaging in the
Do you,
conversation
think, do you think you're going to get paid less than the average salary in the area where you live? Or does it totally depend on the church
But average salary compared to what? Compared to teachers?
compared to, I don't know,
Compared
I'm asking.
to,
Well, I think churches
'cause
have
there's not many people out there in the real world that do what we do.
If the average church has a senior pastor, they go, okay, here's what the senior pastor
Teachers
makes.
out there.
X amount of money. The associate pastor makes this.
Yeah,
doesn't
80%
matter,
of the senior.
Doesn't matter what you need. You're not making more than the senior pastor
For
or the
sure.
associate pastor.
Sure.
You're coming in at this level right here because that's where they see.
That's the
where
value
they see
in it.
youth workers.
Right.
Yeah. Now it doesn't mean
right
you can't,
there or way down
Yeah,
here?
actually, right below the cleaning crew and the website guy.
Yeah, well, definitely behind the website guy.
The website guy's way up there, dude.
That's what I mean.
That's what he,
Oh, sorry. Just agreeing with you.
It's good. Andy, what are you giggling about over there? What's going on in the live chat?
Well, the live chat's just great. We're having a full conversation about the same thing you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
We're
we're
able to do polls through this new tool.
On
You can poll
Ustream
real
TV?
time
So you're
Cool.
you're creating polls to the people
based
who
on
are
the
watching.
questions that you're asking.
How many people are watching right now?
Ask people if they're bored with the
All
show.
right.
Ask how many people are bored with the show right now.
They can hear you. They'll start answering in a second.
No, do the poll.
Well, they'll start saying
I
yes
wanna
or
have
no.
a- I need a-
there's
Group-
leaders
why do
there.
we
There's
care?
leaders.
Why
there.
do
We've
Not
talked
bored,
about it.
Not bored. Not bored.
Why do we care?
Because
We've
I
talked
always
about
care
it.
what other people think.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about it before too, but Group does that National Youth Ministry Survey as well, which
So
you
does
can check
Leadership
out.
Network. They do a.
Yeah. And there's great tools out there to help find out what cost of living is in new areas. If you did take a position in a new state or location, you can figure that
That's
out too.
funny.
That's
Not
so
that they're bored with
frightening.
you.
Look at this.
Me
Look at this
too.
picture of Josh. This was like.
Oh, that's terrible.
Can we post
What
this?
happened?
It
I have a
says,
unibrow.
Doug and friends, at one point in the conference, Josh said, take a picture of the seminar leader being a real person. So attached is a very uncomfortable picture of Josh.
No way.
Then his
That
name
looks
is
like
Kevin
Incredible
Kevin
Hulk.
Bates, and he says, I'm the guy that
agree.
every time Doug sees me, he asks, how do I know you?
Oh.
Like he's the only guy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's
Kevin,
one
let
of.
me let you in on something.
Little secret here.
He
Here it
knows he
comes.
knows you. But
I have a very good eye for people. I just can't remember where I met them at.
So he met you
which is us.
last
sometimes,
year and asked you that
every
question.
week.
Yeah, he forgot Janet's name last week.
Recognition is easier than recall.
Here's a in response. Remember last week that we kind of read that
Very wise.
the guy from the UK
Basic
said
psychology.
Yeah, he didn't
you
like
know,
our podcast.
Yeah, he didn't like the
Yeah,
podcast.
Oh, did he email back?
No, but this is Albert Alcorn
Oh,
from
he's awesome.
North Valley Christian Fellowship. You know Albert?
He I don't know him at all, but he's emailed us a lot.
Has he?
Yeah, we've emailed a lot. We've answered a lot of his emails.
Albert Alcorn?
Uh-huh.
All right.
I want to disagree with you on that.
Oh, I'd say at least 5.
Okay, let's
Oh.
How many in the last? Oh,
bet. Let's bet.
Since
Out
since
back.
A lunch.
since,
Oh,
since
gosh.
podcast number 1, at least 5. Albert,
we have
Albert,
answered, or
you
he
need-
sent in, or
He said we answered. That's the bet.
Okay.
We've answered 5.
or
Albert,
read,
you need,
or read.
okay,
on a
you need to
podcast.
let us know. Yeah, we don't answer any questions. You need to let us know if we've answered 5 or not. Okay.
5 is
If
good.
you're
Not
still
including
listening
this
to
one.
the podcast.
He says, in response to the UK guy, as a full-time youth director, I need the little bit of banter to lighten up the day when working in a church where I am the only guy under 30.
there you go.
There you go.
There you go,
Thank
UK guy.
Yeah, and so
And email
Take
me
that.
directly.
Yeah.
no, Albert, don't email him directly.
Why not? Why am I going to forge the email?
No, I want to send it to podcast at Simply Youth Ministry.
Oh, and Matt M at soundback.net.
Oh,
Oh wait, 2 email addresses now?
Why not?
yeah. Can we delete that one, Chris?
Yeah, we added
No,
that out.
why?
No.
Because Josh is going to forget it, or
No,
he's
no,
going
no,
to
no.
overlook
You
it.
don't, Matt. I'm
What's wrong
telling
with
you.
the-
I'll write it in my moleskin.
And send it to Doug's email too.
I'll write it in Andy's new
I don't
moleskin.
want it sent to my email.
Oh, send it to Brazel's email.
Don't send it to Brazen.
Andy at
Oh,
simpleyouthministry.com?
Matt, Are you so caught up
Oh.
on emails that you want to give your email address?
No, I'm.
Yeah.
Oh, like anybody on the podcast can find my email.
Oh.
Doug Fields at simpleyouthministry.com.
Give it a shot.
Give it a shot. See what happens.
No, but don't, because then it'll get lost there. Just send
Yeah,
it to
don't send it there. It
podcast.
will never. No. Yeah.
Put a
Podcast
post
at
on my blog.
simpleyouthministry.com.
Mark, there you go.
Make
How
a
about post on the
comment.
blog?
Put a
Nicely
comment.
done.
There you
Which
go.
sends me an email.
Great. Great. This is from Mark
Which rings his
McLean. The
phone.
title is Matt's
Which?
Stupid Comment. Guys, I love listening to you. I just started
Which
listening
one?
about a
Just
month
one?
ago, and I've already gone back to listen to all of them. I'm listening in reverse order, which is really funny because I have no clue on the insider stuff until I keep listening. I've made it
of
back
like
to
Memento.
50 and must say that the show is getting better than it was then. Matt seems to have broke free from Doug's heavy hand. The man will always try to keep you down, Matt. Josh is super funny.
this
Janet
man.
is amazing and has so much
Amazing.
wisdom. I mean opinions. Matt,
Shot.
Matt is the one with wisdom. Doug, you were the best, but I never would have taken you for a flashlight dropper. I'm kind of excited about
Wow.
that people wouldn't think that I am the flashlight
No,
dropper
that guy.
type.
One guy.
Oh, one guy.
Yeah, that's
Really?
Anyway, I was
You're a
really
total
offended when I
flashlight
listened to episode 71. Matt made this stupid comment that he was not really informed about as usual. The question was about the pregnant student leader, and Matt asked if she was married. Everyone laughed and commented that she was in high school, and Matt said, She might be from Kentucky.
Perfect.
And
What's not funny about that?
Why does he
disagree.
think she's from Kentucky? You can't assume she's from Kentucky because she's pregnant. Now, if the youth pastor had said that she was pregnant from her cousin, then that would have been time to assume she was from Kentucky. You California left coasters just go along with culture. You can make fun of two groups of people,
We don't
Christians
go along
and
with culture. We create
Southerners.
culture.
No, really, I love the show. Keep it up. And Josh, I could use your Xbox when you reach 20,000 points.
Okay, 3,000 points away.
And then why? Then you're
Keep
done?
it real.
You have
What?
keeping it real.
Just for math.
I have collected
Thank you.
17,000 gamer score points on my Xbox
That
360.
is so many points. Now, how many points do you
That's a
think I have?
If I have
Gamer
17,000,
If he has
I'm
17,000,
pretty
how
avid
much
video
do you
gamer.
think I have?
6,000.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Wow.
You know what? I'm a gamer guy.
You are. You know what? I
whatever.
think of video games, I immediately go Douglas Montgomery Fields.
Yep, Big Doug.
Doug Fields at simplylutheran.com.
Honky Conk.
Dick.
Yeah, brought out the Dig Doug
Centipede.
today. That was
We
awesome.
did give
Okay.
him a Twitter account.
What if you?
We got his
Oh,
Twitter account, so no one can get it.
you know what we need in the
Yeah, do
office?
it.
We need a full
No,
size Dig
that would
Doug
be
game.
I don't even
That
know
would
what
be
it is. I don't
amazing.
even know what it
Like
is.
Twitter.
No.
You can Twitter from your
you
phone.
would.
It's pretty fun.
We would.
You know how many people
No.
would follow Doug on
Yeah,
Twitter?
that would be ridiculous.
You would get
Ridiculous.
1,000 followers on Twitter overnight.
Oh gosh.
Why do I want 1,000 followers?
Well, Twitter is lame.
I think Twitter is lame too.
Anytime you send out a message, it would go to 1,000 people instantly.
Okay, so what do I send on the message?
No, it's basically
Hi,
I'm
I'm
going
getting-
to the bathroom.
I'm getting gas.
Exactly.
Yes.
I
So
can't believe it's $4 a
stupid.
gallon. Send.
Send.
My hair just fell out.
Just had a meeting with Pastor Rick.
My
I
air
lost
just
my
lost.
inline, Invisalign. I have to go.
Wait, what?
I really do.
You can't just.
I'm sorry. I told you guys before this started.
We
that I
still have
to
like
go.
10 minutes
But you know
left.
what? We started 15 minutes late because Andy wasn't ready.
What?
Yes, the
Bring us a
camera.
scam.
Okay, Jana's
Okay.
got an
Okay.
intern interview.
I have an intern interview with a potential intern
Oh, we
Will you
should.
tell
for
us next
step
week
one
if
in
it
the
sucked or
screening
not?
process.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you want to be an intern at Saddleback, tell people where to go because it'd be great to have some
Yeah.
more.
If you are
intern
interested in
interest.
our intern program, you can email me, Gianna S at
It'd be great to
saddleback.net
have some more.
or Matt M.
or
at
Matt M.
Wait a minute. It would be great to have some more. Are we running a little dry? on
Well-
that?
No, but I mean,
No.
we take interns 3 times a year,
Ah.
June, September, and January, and so we are gearing up for
Yeah.
our next session.
Okay, well, let's bring this to a close anyway.
Oh,
How about
okay.
that?
Okay.
Great.
So, interns at what?
Dear
Saddleback?
Lord, thank you for today.
Saddleback.com
Oh, not that kind of
/internships.
All right. I got
Backslash
3
or forward
emails right here
Okay.
from Craig Pfeiffer, Matt Cross, and Mark McLean from Lexington, Kentucky. And they're all about Kathy. And you want to stay?
Well, I just like Kathy.
You should. We're ending the show right here.
Well, this ending the show is
You
like 15
guys,
minutes for you
let
Now,
guys.
if you want to leave, Jenna.
There's only
Not
minutes left in
yeah.
it. 7.
Those of us who are
All
truly
right.
committed
Bye,
will
Jana.
stick around.
We'll just carry the show. I
Call
guess.
me later.
Andy,
Smell you later.
Says I sneaked into my wife's class on the last day of the conference, which Kathy was teaching, Thriving as Youth Pastors. First, I thought it was great to see you were there holding one mother's child so she could take part in the small group discussion. Which,
Aw.
you know what?
Just
That's
like
me.
a
I
mayor.
just kiss babies.
You're
and-
not a flashlight dropper, and you're a babysitter.
No, you know what? I'll hold anybody's baby at any time.
Hey, Jana's back, everybody. All
Speaking,
right.
speaking of holding babies, do you know that
Yeah.
on Easter Sunday, Natalie stopped by and got to see Natalie's baby?
No way.
Yeah, Natalie.
And
And
also,
also,
was it that somebody thought she was still pregnant?
do you know who it was?
Yeah,
How do you know?
she told me.
Tori told you? Yeah, Tori saw her, and it was like 2 days after Natalie got. And Tori didn't know that. My daughter Tori, for those listening, didn't know that Natalie had her baby, and Natalie was one of the biggest pregnant stomachs I've ever
Yes,
seen.
there's a picture
because
that
she's
was
so little.
unreal.
Yeah. Oh, she wasn't big anywhere else.
Yeah.
She was just big in the stomach. And so she had her baby, 3 days from when we saw her. And so she still has a little bit. And Tori hadn't seen her in a while and goes, oh, and starts feeling her stomach. And, oh, yeah, it was a rough one.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm
Natalie was
hurting a
great
little.
about it. Now, yeah, but
See ya.
we walk in the
What's
house
going
and
on
Tori
down
goes,
there?
Tori goes, I'm such an idiot.
That's the most embarrassing. All right.
Anyway,
That
so
was like when you told her that one fat guy had lost a lot of weight. And she walks up and is like, "You look so good. You look so good."
That's a great story. That falls in the flashlight story, but that also reveals kind of the sneakiness of my bits and my getting and stuff like, which is fine. It's just funny that people that don't live in my world don't know that part of my personality. But we were at a wedding and we hadn't seen this guy. We'll just call him Dave. We hadn't seen Dave in a long time.
Dave and Buster's.
And he's a really large guy. And I said to Tori, "Hey, I just saw Dave and he lost like 100 pounds. He's doing that World's Biggest Loser deal." Tori goes, "Really?" And Tori goes up to him. She sees him about 15 minutes later and goes up to him and goes, "Dave, oh man, you look great. You look great. How much weight have you lost?" None. I've gained about 20 over the last.
Oh, no!
It was an awesome get.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, all three of these questions
Kathy Fields.
were Kathy Fields related questions and spouses. And, we had Kathy on the Valentine's show last month. And this guy says, "Have Kathy on the podcast more. She's amazing." One guy says, tell Kathy to do a podcast for wives. So, Andy, I talked to Kathy and I said, "Hey, babe, what if you and I did a marriage and family podcast?" And she said she'd love to do it.
That's cool.
So
Cool. Like on a regular basis or a one-off that we add into the...
Well, I told her, I said, "Why don't, if we do this," because I said, the four of us have been pretty consistent for the last month. I said, "What if you just show up at the end of it
Do
and
another one?
her and I just
That's
do
a
one kind of
great
back
idea.
to back?" So anyway, but should we do like a poll, Andy, or find out if anybody would even care about it? 'Cause
Well,
if
here's
it
my-
would be helpful.
Here was the poll I currently have. How much do you weigh? And the majority weigh between 201 pounds and 250 pounds.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I know, but it's just a fun poll.
That's really funny.
We had a Biggest Loser comment earlier, though, so that's all right.
So
Yeah, I'll do a poll right now.
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, that's a possibility.
Cool.
If you do want spouse questions or
Yeah.
marriage and family questions, just send it into podcast at Simply Youth Ministry and just put Doug and Kathy, and we'll compile.
Exactly.
Once we get about 20 questions or something like that, we'll crank out a few podcasts and see if anybody cares about them.
Yeah.
And if they do and it's helpful, we'll continue.
Well, you could do a different format, a little
SimplyMarriage.com.
shorter, and
Yeah, maybe we'll do them longer
you
and shorten
could.
this one.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right, we have got just no time left. Matt, there's a comment from Tyler Volkers. Now, if you said Tyler Volkers, we've heard his name a bunch of times. I would say, okay, that's one.
Yeah, but not Albert.
We had to
Acorn.
laugh at your comments about clip art last episode. We have a much older administrative assistant who insists on using clip art. What?
That's funny.
2 minutes
Real
left.
clip art. That's great.
How about we end with Jill Duncan from Lynchfield? And Andy, go on, or Chris,
We've done an email from her before too.
go on and find out where Lynchfield is. I got to believe that it's overseas somewhere.
Lynchfield?
Can we do that?
Sounds
You
like...
can't. You don't have internet.
I'm going to guess
For
Missouri.
different reasons.
Just thought you should
gotta
know
skip
that some
Bama.
English people appreciate humor. I'm a big fan of the show and caught up with all the previous episodes in a few weeks. In answer to the
that's-
question, who has the time to
Everybody
listen?
enjoys humor.
Well, remember
Not
the guy
everybody.
last week from the UK says he doesn't get American sarcasm.
Right.
Oh,
So
so,
he still
so here's an
appreciates
English
humor, though.
person
Well,
saying...
you don't know that. You don't know.
There's not a human alive.
All right,
that
show
doesn't
the
like to smile.
ending.
Can't
Look out.
prove that.
Keep going.
In answer to the question, who has time to listen to an hour-long podcast, the answer is those who are doing a youth work degree. The podcasts are much more interesting than the essays I'm meant to be writing. It amuses me that people send you randomly offensive emails as if it is compulsory for them to listen, and that these busy youth workers find the time to send
Yeah.
emails just to complain.
You know what? You can't tell people how irrational they are.
I'm now reading back this email to try to get rid of anything that Matt can laugh at me about.
Wow. Well, do you know where
Good
Lynchfield
job.
is? Lynchfield is in Pennsylvania.
No.
No, she said from
Wade Street Church. She says she's...
It sounds like she's from England, right?
Yeah, I
she's
just
a
would
UK
like to know
or...
where Lynch
Oh,
Yeah.
here, spell it for him, though, because Lynch is wrong on the way they spell it.
L-I-C-H.
L-I-C-H.
Yeah, that's definitely the English spelling.
All right.
Do a quick eBay push.
eBay. Let's get that thing. 3 more days.
Let's do it.
Pump that up. Send us what you want on eBay at Podcast at Simple Youth Ministry. Send your questions to Podcast at Simple Youth Ministry or call 949-243-0571. If you're in Dallas and you want to go to our PDYM regional, go to pdymcommunity.com. If on April 18th and 19th, if you're in Florida, where is that in Florida?
Jacksonville.
May 16th and 17th. We will see you there. Talk to you next week. From Doug,
see you later.
From Matt the Future, from Josh and his prayer position, Andy and Chris, we're out.
And Jane.
And Jane.
Bye.